Sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Friday, April 9th, and this is the Drop Podcast. Hashtag full squad here. I'm J.E. rolling with Mr. What You Need to Know, Tass Mellis.
Hey, everybody. I was feeling good, and now I'm just so jealous of that recorder performance right there. That was phenomenal.
Very nice. We also got the top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey, auto, yo!
Wow. Excellent. We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last but not least, making the magic happen is JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. JD, how you feeling, man?
Better, but not quite there yet. I'm all hopped up on goofballs. My neck seized up yesterday. Basically, was it Tim Duncan back in the day? DNP old.
Yeah.
That's
you right now.
That's me right now. But although here I am, but I missed happy hours. Sad to miss Kenny last night. But oh well, what are you gonna do?
That's
I'm
okay.
old. I'm old.
There'll be many more happy hours in our future, and I'm sure Kenny will swing by again. Yeah. Shout out to the stream team right now joining us live on YouTube. Please, guys, take a second to like the video and then comment and subscribe and share the channel with your friends. We had a very entertaining happy hour last night with our special guest, the king of the fourth quarter, Kenny Beecham. It was so much fun. We also, after Kenny left us, we talked to him for like an hour. It was a great time. We started playing GeoGuessr. I don't know, JD or Tass, I don't know if you know about this game, even know what the hell I'm talking about. We did it until we fired it up, and we're learning on the fly. But you're basically dropped somewhere in the world on like Google Maps, and you can, as you know, you can like move around on Google Maps, right? Like you can look around and zoom in. You got to sort of figure out where you are based on being in this little map, and then you take a guess, like, you know, so you're looking at landmarks. You're looking at street signs. You're looking at the steering wheel. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. And look,
cool.
The international man of mystery, living up to his nickname. Lee was pretty damn good at it. I gotta say, Lee, you pulled out like a Stockholm, Sweden early, and it was like, damn, man, good stuff. And we were pretty close.
Yeah. So is it like an actual landmark, or do you just dropped in the streets of Stockholm kind of thing?
Well, we were playing like a landmarks type of version of the game. Is that right, Trey? But there's other ones where you're just dropped randomly. Like you could be dropped in a field, like outside of Milton or something like that. I mean, then you got to figure it out.
That's what we're doing next time. We're going to go deep in the fields. Yeah, we were doing famous places last night. I think there was like a just United States one, and then full world. You can be anywhere. Who knows?
It was fun. Yeah, so go check out that happy hour. Again, we shoot the shit with Kenny for a good hour, and then Lee comes back after reading some bedtime stories, and we played GeoGuessr and got really into it. Like we were like geeking out hardcore.
I think Trey even bought a subscription on the fly there, didn't you, to keep us going?
No, I didn't. I did the full sign up. We got one free game last night, which was the perfect time. 5 rounds or whatever we went, but it was such a good time that I'm like, I'm willing to pay $1.99 a month to run it back every now and then.
Yeah.
Oh man, I told Nora after happy hours, like telling her what we were doing, and she's like, "That sounds fun. Let's get that." I'm like,
"That was fun.
It is fun. I think we should get that." So maybe let's get a pro account. Maybe we can write it off with the Athletic. Okay, keep your NBA questions coming for the next Beach Steppin' podcast. Email them in to nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in @nodunks_inc. And you guys know this. Immaculate items always available for sale over at nodunks.com. I got the mug this morning. Yeah, the Good Morning Sweet World mug that you can buy over at nodunks.com. All right. Fun drop podcast here. Tass, you got some worst of the week nominees that we'll go through and ultimately give somebody the worst of the week dishonor, I guess. Got some fun at the end of the show. Remember, I teased to you guys this idea of putting all the American teams into Canadian cities to make it fair, because Toronto's in Tampa this year. So next year, Silver should put all the 29 American NBA teams into Canadian cities. So I spent hours figuring out where to put them yesterday. I'm not proud of it at all. It's like a Top Shot Trey and his weird database. I put so much work into this. It's probably going to take 15, 20 minutes. We could have made it its own podcast, but we'll do it at the end of the show. But let's start with a little action, and we'll do that in the form of What You Got.
What you got? What you got there? What you got?
Yeah, what you got there? Some great games last night. Some good performances. Some big wins. Paul George, he scored 33. Kawhi, 27. Clippers, 113-103 victory over the Suns. Okay, that's nice. Porzingis, 26 and 17, which really impressed for him. The 17 boards. He played on consecutive days for the first time in a couple of months. Mavs beat the Bucks. No Giannis, but 116-101. And then finally, Donovan Mitchell. This guy's on a tear. He scored 37. Jazz crushed the Blazers for their 23rd straight home victory. So I think this is a very, very tough one. What was the more impressive win? Clippers, Mavericks, or Jazz? What you got, Trey?
This is a Lee Ellis. Tough one. That's a tough one. Clippers win was great. Nice to see national TV Rondo back in the mix. The Jazz handled the Blazers pretty easily, all things considered. So I got to go with the Mavericks here. No Giannis, like you said, Skeets, but they did beat a conference finals team, and they did it on the second night of a back-to-back. Like you're saying, that is the important part to me because Porzingis balled out 26, 17, 4 threes on the night. 3 of those came in the fourth quarter when he led the Mavs in scoring with 11. Also impressive, a great assist on a dagger 3 from Dorian Finney-Smith. The Bucks overplayed the three-pointer from Porzingis since he had just hit a really deep bomb, puts the ball on the floor, finds Finney-Smith in the corner for a swish bomb. Kind of. He got a little bit of the rim, a mostly swish bomb. Nonetheless, a great pass by Porzingis. You don't see him as a playmaker very much, but that was a huge play. First time since February, like you said, Skeets, that Porzingis has played in a back-to-back. That is just huge for the Mavericks because not only is he getting healthier, he's getting better. 21 and 10, shooting 48% from the field, 40% from 3, 80 at the line after the All-Star break. You couple that with improved three-point shooting from Doncic and the rest of the Mavs, and you can see why they're 11 and 6 since the All-Star game. Just a game back right now of Portland for number 6. That's going to be a great race to see who's getting that final locked-in playoff spot there in the Western Conference, especially when you start looking at who the Mavericks could potentially face in the first round. What if they get another rematch with the Clippers? That could be awesome. So great win for the Mavs last night, though. Honestly, I could listen to cases for the Clippers and Jazz as well.
Yeah, well, let's go to you, Tass. I know you talked about these games, these teams, on what you need to know this morning, but if you had to pick one, the more impressive win to you was what from the Clippers, Mavs, or Jazz?
Well, I'll start it off with a the Dallas one is interesting. We only have really the capacity to talk about like a few teams in the Western Conference. We always talk about the LAs. You got to talk about the Jazz. You got to talk about the Suns, and that's basically it. I mean, do we have enough capacity to keep talking about these teams? No. So the Blazers and the Mavs get overlooked. Not only are they playing better, not only is Kristaps Porzingis healthy, playing better defense, but they found their starting lineup. They're 15 and 4 with Porzingis, Luka, Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's going to hit shots, and Maxi Kleber as their starters. So that they have found their way. Well, last year they went into the postseason. Kristaps left that playoff series against the Clippers with an injury. They've taken it really slowly, not playing him back-to-backs. They only played him in this back-to-back because they had a couple of days off afterwards. So that's always the worry with Kristaps, but he's playing great. He is balling, and not only hitting threes, but passing to the corner for that assist. It was his only assist, but hey, it was a nice one. And so if he can play to his capabilities, that raises the ceiling of the Mavs by far. So we know he's an all-star kind of player. He is. I think it's more about just seeing everything come to fruition for a couple of these teams last night. The Mavs are feeling good. The Clippers, could it worked out any better trading for Rajon Rondo? He comes and he plays the fourth quarter and has a monstrous fourth quarter, hitting shots, talking junk to Chris Paul as he's hitting shots. You got Patrick Beverley doing some dirty stuff to Chris Paul. So, they had a great fourth quarter, all of them. They're scrambling on the defensive end. They're moving the ball offensively. They have a stagnant offense at times in the fourth quarter. They're starting to look like the team that they want to be. I'm a little bit more excited just from a fan standpoint that they're really, really leaning into the villain role. We need a villain in the NBA, and they are absolutely the one. When you have Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo as your point guards, they couldn't talk enough junk. And then, you've got Marcus Morris also gets ejected from this game along with Patrick Beverley, who deserved to be ejected, even though he didn't think he should have been ejected. He was lucky He's lucky he's not going to get suspended. He's not going to get suspended, I guess, but that's a body check. I don't know how he complains about it afterward.
That one's on me. That's mine. That's my foul there.
Yeah. We had no idea that was your foul, whether or not that was your foul.
Yep, got him.
He stands out as one of the hockey players in the NBA. Like you just can't do that kind of stuff. So especially in today's NBA, there's not too many people that stand out physically, and so they're leaning into it. But they got playoff P performances with that 33. Kawhi closed it out, and Rajon Rondo just forces them to move the ball. They want to play iso ball, but Rajon Rondo, he's going to pass if he has a layup, so he is going to make sure that they move. So it hasn't worked out, couldn't have worked out any more perfectly after trading for Rondo to come in and have a fourth quarter like that, even though. It was partly forced because they had to play him because Beverly got tossed, but it's working out perfect.
What do you think, Lee? More impressive win from last night in your mind?
Yeah, I'm going with the Clippers myself because I think they beat the best opponent because the Suns are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And what I really liked about this one for the Clippers is they're a team that I'm still not sure about because I think they've got a bit of a glass jaw and that they sometimes just really do shit the bed, but they didn't do that last night. This was a sort of a playoff type game and they answered the bell, and it really started with their two stars. Rondo was good in the fourth, but it was Kawhi and Paul George, and that's the sort of idea that the Clippers had when they got these two guys together. It's like, if these two guys are both on, then we're a very, very tough team to beat. And Paul George, I thought last night, was just so silky smooth. When he gets that shot going, he's incredible. I think he finished 7 for 9 from downtown on the night he did, and Kawhi Leonard had another 3 for 7. So if those guys are being that efficient, it really is hard to beat the Clippers. And the Suns, again, coming off an overtime game last night at home against the Utah Jazz, maybe they're a little bit heavy-legged, but it didn't really matter because I just felt that the Clippers flexed their muscles as best they can last night. And so after a game like that, I'm like, yeah, the Clippers are probably better than what I sort of think of them at times. But having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers just go out and then just do lay an egg in their next game or two because that's the kind of way they've been. So I thought that was the most impressive victory because it was against the toughest opponent. I thought the Jazz, they needed a bounce back after that loss to Phoenix, and they got it against Portland. But it was pretty much that one was that they were pretty home in that third quarter there. So I don't think that was super impressive against a team like the Blazers, who we know are a good team. But I think considering everything, it was the Clippers. And going back to the Mavericks-Bucks game, I mean, the concern if you're the Bucks for me is that Chris Middleton, on a night where they need someone to step up, goes 6 for 27 from the floor. I thought Brook Lopez was Dirk last night. Had a couple of those step backs on the one leg. He may have been their best offensive player, which is not a good sign for Milwaukee. So of the three, I definitely think it was the Clippers that had the best performance against the best team.
I'm not sure I agree. That was a schedule loss for the Suns. It is a back-to-back here. They went to overtime. They're traveling. I'm not sure it's that one, though it's an awesome win from the Clips. Like Paul George, you're right. He's hit 13 threes, I think, over his last 2 games. He is cooking from distance, and he's having I believe, his most efficient scoring season of his career. Maybe not the most points per game, but when you're getting into the effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, and also playmaking, career high right now in assists per game and assist ratio. So that's pretty phenomenal. And he's just sort of gone completely under the radar because there's so many other great like MVP candidates. There's one on his damn own team in Kawhi Leonard that would be above him on a lot of people's list. But you forget, like when he has these big 30-point games, you're like, oh my God, Paul George sort of is unstoppable at times because he's so smooth, like you said, Lee. But again, that's the Suns' weird schedule there for them. So that's a tough one. No Giannis in the Mavericks win, so I'm not going to go overboard with that one. I think it's the Jazz, man. Like, I think we've just become accustomed to them doing this, Lee, and maybe that's why we're like glossing over it a little bit. Blazers are reeling a little bit. They need a victory. So it's not like they just like didn't have anyone playing in this. And Mitchell, you said it, Tass, on what you need to know today. You slipped it in there like, hey, where is Donovan Mitchell in the MVP conversation? Like, does someone need to get up from their chair and give it to him at this point? Because he is on an unbelievable tear since the All-Star break. It was obviously great before that too. And on the number one team in the league, I think he's deserving to sit at the table, but I understand how difficult it is to bounce somebody from it. Yeah, I think he needs a slice of pizza. He does, and maybe a glass of wine. He's deserving of it. So I will go with the Jazz, but Trey, you're right. You said it off the top. I mean, you can go with any of these. They're all good wins against, for the most part, good teams, even though some of them missing some players. Do you have Go ahead.
Scheduled loss versus a bounce back win. What you got?
Oh, it's true.
That's a
It's
tough
true.
call.
Also, I can't believe Trey didn't go with the Jazz because, sticking with the dinner theme here, there was some big beef served along with that pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I think that maybe Rudy Gobert, should he get a seat at the table? If he does, he's ordering roast beef because another one for Rudy last night. JD, roll that beautiful beef footage. Rudy Gobert had 20 rebounds. That's a lot of roast beef. That's a league-leading late-night beef. No dunks. We love roast beef, which is rebounds.
There is always an air ball rebound in these things, man.
Honestly, probably the worst beef yet, if I'm being honest. Look at how many of those rebounds are just Gobert standing there with nobody else around him. Pretty surprising considering, Cantor got a lot of minutes last night for the Jazz. He's a big beefer. Obviously, Nurkic was a little bit limited, but he's a guy that could easily throw down a beef. A lot of uncontested ones for Rudy, but a necessary beef. It had been 8 days since our last one.
Wow.
Chris Boucher got very close last night. That Montreal smoked beef, but 4th of the season puts Rudy Gobert in the lead. Grateful for the beef. He's in the beef's leader seat right now.
Wow.
He's in beef pole position, if you will. Will he hang on for the rest of the season? My guess is yeah. He's hitting the glass hard.
Yeah, we said we're going to try and get whoever is the leader at the end of the year a beef crown, right? Like a crown made of
that's
beef
right.
that you have to wear around your head and stink it up. Okay, congrats to him on leading right now. See if he can hold on. Let's move to the bad losses from last night. Tass, we'll go to you first because we had Corey Joseph having a season-high 24 points in his first game against his former team as the shorthanded Pistons beat the Kings 113-101. And then Vooch and Levine each scored 22 points as the Bulls beat the Raptors pretty handedly. So the more embarrassing loss, Kings or Raptors. Now, keep in mind that Raptors loss was a casket match, a graveyard match, a boneyard match, if you will, and that the Raptors are now dead to us and are, in fact, the zombie Raptors from here on out. So just take that into consideration before you answer.
Well, it's definitely the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, I think everybody in the world is now making an excuse, which is a legitimate excuse for the Toronto Raptors having to play in America all season long, and it just has gotten to them. And so they could lose a game, especially when they only had 8 guys. Mm-hmm. They had a couple of suspensions handed down to them, which we'll get into a little bit later in Worst of the Week, because they were ridiculous suspensions. They just were not right to hand down to this Toronto Raptors team that doesn't have enough guys. But yeah, you mentioned Sacramento and Detroit. So this one, probably the 6th game on the 7th game itinerary. Like it's down the list of games.
Sure.
But it was also a minor trade that happened, a few, I guess it's still weeks back with the Kings and the Pistons. Corey Joseph goes to the Pistons, and this was his first game. Yeah, and he is the leading scorer in the game against his old team. Right. And the Kings can't beat the Pistons. Corey Joseph goes back and gives it to you. That's embarrassing. Those are 2 teams towards the bottom of the standings. Obviously, the Sacramento Kings, if they have any chance of making the play-in tournament, they got to win games like this. The Raptors have many excuses. Even when the play-by-play man, Matt Devlin, is using the excuse of, this season has gone to hell. I mean, it's basically Devlin basically saying, like all of us, they had to play in Tampa all year, okay? Just let it be. They're signing guys named Freddie Gillespie. I was going to say Gillespie. Freddie Gillespie to 10-day contracts. They are so desperate for guys. So, yeah, the Raptors, unfortunately, this is it. This is just a tough season for them. They peaked in 19, they hung on in 20, and then 21 is the gutter. I mean, this is just the way it's going to be. That's the way it is. But the other one's that's embarrassing for the Kings. It really is.
My God, the Kings. Lee, what's your answer for this one? And I'll point out that the Kings have now lost to the Wolves and the Pistons. despite being like within sniffing distance of the play-in tournament, like when they were putting some wins together, we were getting excited again. I came on here once again, said, watch over the Kings, baby. And then they do this. It's almost like, is this a bit? Are they feeding into a bit? It's got Matt Austin.
I started to go back and like look up like when the Sacramento Kings were winners of the weekend. Like we come in on a Monday. Oh, great weekend for the Kings. They've won 3 of 4, looking good. I think you came in March 29th. It was a Monday. They got a win that night and then 6 straight losses since. I think similar things have happened earlier in the year. And it is strange, especially considering the trade tasks with the Pistons. You know, we were talking about it at the trade deadline, and Kings fans are like, Corey Joseph was the tank commander. Guess what he was commanding? A tank. It's still there in Sacramento. Come on. That was a terrible loss. That was embarrassing, but I don't know. You know, just don't pay attention to the Kings. That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
They can win some games as long as nobody mentions it.
If we just don't look at them and never talk about them, the Kings will win the championship.
Right.
I'm pretty convinced. But where do you go for embarrassing loss from last week?
It is definitely the Kings. And I would say today, next season, the only 2 players who I guarantee will be in uniform for the Kings next year are Fox and Halliburton. I think everyone else is up for grabs. Luke Walton's gone because it's just been a disaster. They're the sort of team that play-in tournament was like, great, this gives us a chance.
Right.
Least, and this week, as you mentioned, they had 2, teams winnable games, and they lost both. Now, good look, the Timberwolves fought. It was in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the Pistons came in there last night, and Corey Joseph, as you guys mentioned there, and Mark Jones was saying on the broadcast, he kept the keys to the gym because he was just cooking the Kings last night, and their defense is awful. But to me, that little run they had, that little hope recently, it's like maybe they could make it. Now it's just like, okay, this season's down the drain completely. Fox is a star. There's no doubt about that. I think Buddy and Harrison Barnes are decent pieces, but if you're the Kings, it's basically like, all right, we have to see what we can get for these guys and start all over again. Halliburton is a good player, for a rookie, but it's not working there with Luke Walton, so they're gone. And I thought the Pistons looked pretty good last night. You wouldn't think they were last in the Eastern Conference, so maybe that's we're not being fair to Detroit here that they've been playing better certainly lately. They certainly fight, but the Kings is just a complete disaster. The Bulls beating the Raptors is not a huge surprise. The Raptors have just been playing not very well lately, and they were severely short-handed last night. And Vooch and Zach LaVine, 3 in a row. Bulls are on a streak. They're back. Watch out for the Chicago Bulls.
Yes! You can't be back unless you go away. What shame is there for the Raptors to lose to a playoff team? It was expected.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
you're not wrong. I will say with the Pistons too, Killian Hayes had a nice game, and keep your eye on him. Obviously, the rookie who missed a chunk of time this year because of injury, but they're high on. I was high on. When he got drafted, oh yeah, I like this pick here. A bigger point guard. Let's see what he can do. International guy, and he came off the bench, but 5 of 7, and he played well. And I think I'm just gonna be not watching a bunch of Pistons games from here on out, but try at least checking in on his highlights and his stats and see how he develops. Because these are big games for a player like that. Minutes, I guess, the opportunity a little bit here as we sort of finish the season for the Detroit Pistons. But yeah, it's the Kings. They're just like it's so infuriating that they lose games like this when they're trying to get into the play-in. But congrats on your Bulls. I'm on the Bulls bandwagon now. I'm calling it now, Tass. The Bulls are going to upset the Nets in the 1-8 matchup in the first round because
I'm ready to make another bet if you want.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's get to.
Well, hold on. I like watching the Bulls though. I didn't really buy in earlier in the season. I want to watch Zach LaVine because he does have the highlights. He is a scorer, but now he wants to pass because I think he really believes that our team's decent now. With Vucevic coming over, he had 13 assists yesterday. He was too much of a one-on-one scorer for me earlier in the season, even though he can score whenever and he can take over. Now he knows, he understands. I mean, this is year 7 in the league for him. Yeah, not only we got some help, but we need those dudes. Like I can't just do it on my own. I think his first couple of years with the Bulls was, I'm here to show that I can be an all-star, or I can be a number one guy. Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins were those guys when he was with Minnesota, and he was just the third fiddle. But at the beginning of his career, he was played as a point guard, and he was kind of played out of position at the beginning of his career. And he had helper. He was assisting guys. He can pass. He is that good. And now they decided, okay, yeah, we can play as a team. And Larry Markkinen came off the bench, and yeah, it was an enjoyable watch. It wasn't just iso ball from the Bulls. So I'm okay to the Raptors losing to 2 All-Stars. I mean, they have 2 All-Stars on their team. This isn't like playing the Pistons. No disrespect to Masons and the guys that they have playing well. Like Lee said, they're playing all right. But the Bulls are now playing solid. They're playing solid. They're not ready to be a playoff team. They're not going to upset the Nets, Skeets. But
I don't know, Tass. I don't know. We know the Bulls are incredible against teams that are less than 500. That's probably going to be the entire play-in tournament. We also know that the Nets often play down to their competition. So I'm thinking the Bulls take the 8 seed pretty easily. The Nets sleep on them. Bulls win game 1 in the 1-8 versus matchup. Book it right now.
Oh my god. What a prediction. I love that prediction. Okay, our final one here. Got to show you some great clips. 2 Dunk of the Year candidates last night. We'll show them to you. First one was Kings forward Moe Harkless detonating on Pistons big man Isaiah Stewart. Boom. Woo. Huge dunk. Huge dunk. Second one, superstar Kawhi Leonard. He had a monster dunk on DeAndre Ayton, who's going to come over and try and help, and the claw just extends and throws it down. So both obviously great dunks. I mean, in the running. I don't know if either of these are better than Anthony Edwards on Yuta Watanabe, but which one was better from last night is the question. And Trey, we'll start with you. What was the dunk of the night? Moe Harkless or Kawhi?
Another trademark tough one here. I loved Kawhi's dunk. Love seeing him play downhill almost the entire night against the Suns. Maybe the best dunk of his career, but I'm going Moe Harkless. That thing was massive, and I'm giving it to him ultimately because I was watching Inside the NBA late last night. They showed this clip. Shaq and Chuck, they often respond to a player who's not a big name, but who he play for, as a joke. Right. But this one, they showed it, and Shaq and Chuck were both like, who is that? Who is that? Who's doing that? Who did that dunk? It was so completely surprising, and they were legitimately curious about who threw down that fierce of a dunk off the off leg. Like he jumps off his right leg, takes the bump, and then finishes through contact. Pretty incredible stuff. I mean, Kawhi's is almost the exact same thing, but the added benefit of, a surprise Moe Harkless appearance, I think has got to take the cake.
Well, every time I even watch that clip still, I'm like surprised he dunks it. It's just like, it looks like he's almost on the ground when he's dunking it, Lee. So which one are you going? How could you be Moe Harkless or Kawhi?
Yeah, I'm going with Moe too, just because it does he gets up there and then all of a sudden he throws it down across his body, if you know what I mean. Like he jumps off the wrong foot there and still seems to slam it over, is that Isaiah Stewart, I think it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, Kawhi, we have seen a few dunks from him. It was a nice dunk. That was a little bit the same, and he gets up and then all of a sudden he throws it down and you have to check back. I guess it's a baby thrunk in the end, but it's a very, very nice dunk against DeAndre Ayton there. But I'm going with Harkless because, it's like, wow, he just sort of jumped off the ground and all of a sudden he decided halfway through he's going to dunk this and he knocked it down pretty cleanly. So both very nice dunks, though. Good to see. Great
Tass,
love dunks.
Which one are you giving the Dunk of the Night award to?
Yeah, both 10 out of 10, but I'm going Moe Harkless because I don't think he was planning on dunking it, period. I think he was going up there and then he took the contact and he just said, all right, I got to throw it down now because I'm 4 feet away from the hoop. I'm just going to use my arm here. I think he was just going by and then he got taken out by Isaiah Stewart. But they're basically exactly the same, like physical dunks. You get stopped by a defender, but continue to go over him. And extra points for Moe Harkless. Yeah, I totally forgot he was playing for the Sacramento Kings. Kawhi loses a point because it's a thrunk in the end. But Mo, weird, man. Off leg. I'm pretty sure he was going to lay it in if he didn't get hit. So give it to Momo.
All right, let's hear from you guys in the comments in the stream team and then the comments below the video. For all 3 of those, what you got? So let's hear your answer. Okay, we got Worst of the Week coming up, but first, a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
Yeah, I've got the Blinkist ad read today, and I thought I'd use the opportunity to talk about what it is and what it does. It's a program.
That's a good idea.
It's a program that works on your phone, your tablet, your web browser, all the usual places, so you can get it anywhere.
Would you call this maybe an app or application?
Yes, I mean, do you call it an app, though, when you use it on your web browser?
Debatable.
That's why I sort of left it open there to interpretation, because maybe you are on your phone, maybe you're on your laptop. or maybe you're on your tablet. I'm not sure. We all have so many devices these days. But the good thing about Blinkist is it takes the best bits, the most important bits from thousands of non-fiction books and condenses them down for you so you can still get all you need, but without reading every single word of a book. Everything is compacted these days, and this is another example. So if you're commuting or if you're just out for a walk or a bike ride, it can provide some easy listening for your journey. 12 million people are already using Blinkist right now, and it's about to be 12 million and one because I discovered Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep book is on there. So I'm going to dive into that one next week when I'm like, do you dive in when you're listening? Interesting. Because, you say you're diving into a book. But if you're listening to it, are you diving in? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Either way, Matthew Walker, who I did the masterclass, I followed his masterclass on sleep, was fantastic. So I'm sure his book is going to be as well. And with Blinkist, you get unlimited access to read or listen to a massive library of condensed nonfiction books, all the books you want for one low price. And right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/NoDunks. Try it free for 7 days and save 25% off your new subscription. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/NoDunks to start your free 7-day trial. And you'll also save 25% off, but only when you sign up at Blinkist.com/NoDunks.
Wearing Bombas socks makes me want to sing. Para llevar las bambas. Para llevar las bambas se necesita una poca de gracia. Una poca de gracia se necesita para llevar las bambas. Come on, everybody now.
La bambas.
La las bambas. La las bambas. Yeah, Bombas socks are comfortable AF. They'll have you singing your favorite tune. They always get me singing. They are cozy, but these socks do more than keep feet cozy. They help give back to the most vulnerable members of our community because for every pair of socks that you purchase, Bombas donates a pair to someone in need. The generosity of Bombas customers has allowed them to donate over 40 million pairs of socks. Give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase at bombas.com/NoDunks. That's BOMBAS.com/NoDunks for 20% off your first purchase. Bombas.com/NoDunks.
You guys are bringing it today. I love it. Love the energy on a Friday here. But let's get to worst of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst of the week.
We'll keep the energy up here because I'm sure this is going to infuriate Skeets for sure. I think everybody here at the table, because the first one involves the Dennis Schroeder and OG Anunoby little kerfuffle that they had earlier this week, Lakers Raptors. Okay, so that happens. Those guys don't get suspended. But a couple days later, I think it was 2 full days later, suspensions handed down to Fred VanVleet, DeAndre Bembry, and Talen Horton-Tucker, all for leaving the bench. Those 3 guys left the bench in the altercation. Fred VanVleet thought it was hilarious that he was suspended. He just tweeted LOL. Because, if anything, Fred VanVleet de-escalated the situation.
Right.
I think, you got to be subjective about this. You can look at where they physically were. This is DeAndre Bembry and Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet, if you're watching on YouTube, he's at the bottom. He literally came over and grabbed his teammate and got Gary Trent Jr. the heck out of there. DeAndre Bembry, he's probably talking to a fan or to the mop guy. He has nothing to do with what's going on the floor. Talen Horton-Tucker also suspended. I don't even know where the hell he is. I don't even know. If
he's on the other side of the floor. Like he's just out on the court. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I figured he wasn't there because, it's pretty far away from the Lakers bench. So I guess he stepped on the hardwood, so he gets a suspension. I know we all have a problem with this rule. Since Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw were suspended back in the day. Were it those 2 guys or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was those 2 guys. Yeah, with the Sun Spurs. So I always get it confused with Sean Marion, but he was there. Anyway, it's ridiculous. It should be subjective. Just look at it. Fred VanVleet is literally being a peacemaker. He actually made the situation better, but he's going to take money, or they're going to take money away from him because he was technically on the floor, I guess. But he literally helped out. Gary Trent Jr. was a little hot in the pants, and Fred VanVleet came over and helped out. So I hated it. I'm sure you guys did too.
Wow. Lee, you called this. Lee on the show earlier this week when we're talking, of course, about OG body slamming Schroeder and everybody like trying to do the old keep me back. You threw it out there, Lee. And I like laughed at you like, come on, they're not going to suspend these guys. Like they didn't do anything. They helped the situation. Like Tass is pointing out. They weren't like coming in like also pushing people and stuff like that. And I'm talking about like VanVleet especially. And you're like, no, he left the bench. You might get a game. I mean, you're a snitch is what I'm saying. You called it out. I don't think they would have noticed otherwise.
I don't agree with it. I think what Tass said was right. But once you step on the court, if you're not, in the game, they suspend you. And that is a rule that they have zero tolerance on. But they probably should re-examine it. And Adam Silver often talks about, taking a fresh look at rules. And I think he would be right to do so because it's easy to do in a regular season game here against a team for the Raptors who, not going to make the play. Suspend them. That's the rule. We don't take any of that crap. But if this was a playoff game and those two guys did get suspended for doing virtually nothing, and let's say it's LeBron James and let's say it's Anthony Davis who steps on the court, and it's a tight series, then the NBA has to enforce that rule, and it could be one that backfires on them. So I think they would be wise to re-examine it and to judge each case for what happens. Now, if Fred comes out or Brett Bembry, whoever, and they get involved and they start pushing and of course escalate it, absolutely suspend them. But
the NBA with their whole the whole reason for this rule is the more people that get into this skirmish or into this like a group of people, the likelier it is it just like escalates even more. That's what they're thinking, right? Even though if that's not the case, I get that, but come on, a little nuance here.
Yeah, but isn't in hockey the third man in rule? Isn't that like considered the person who sort of escalates everything? Because once one guy jumps in, then other guys tend to jump in.
Right. The instigating major penalty, for sure,
but
and that's why Montrezl Harrell was,
exactly because
right
he did escalate, but he was on the court, so. That's exactly what the NBA is saying. Like we, as a hard line, the rule is if you step on the court, then you've potentially escalated it.
Sometimes it's not a hard line. Sometimes guys can take like a few steps on the floor. I mean, and they kind of just let it go. Sometimes they say, well, it's not that close.
I mean, Fred was right down in the mix. So, they sort of have to enforce their own rules there. But I think they probably will re-examine it at some point because, again, they don't want this to blow up in their face like it did. I mean, it did. You can argue whatever you want about that Suns-Spurs series. But if it does blow up and if it's a LeBron or it's a Luka or Kevin Durant or someone like that, and people then all of a sudden start shouting conspiracy or whatever you want, then it could hurt. So I think
that hurt the Suns, and I don't know if they're going to re-examine the rule. It's like that was like 16
they were down
years
in the
ago.
series anyway, weren't they?
Yeah. It was 2-2. They got suspended for Game 5. It was 2-2, and they had played a close game in that Game 5 without two of their star players.
Right.
Yeah. If they could have brought that game home without frickin' Amari Stoudemire, if Stoudemire was on the floor, it was a low-scoring game right down to the wire. And they win that game, then they go back home. I mean, it was really, really close. So they could have taken away their only NBA championship if you want to be a conspiracy theorist for sure.
What do you think, Trey?
There just needs to be a little bit more nuance to the rule. Like there is certainly a difference between Montrezl Harrell joining this skirmish and Fred VanVleet joining this skirmish. Fred seemed to be acting as a peacemaker, which is pretty silly when you consider the fight we had last season where Ben Simmons was on Karl Anthony Towns' back with a headlock around his neck, didn't get suspended because they said he was a peacemaker, calming Karl Anthony Towns down with his arms.
Right.
Fred VanVleet takes the time to put on his mask before walking to a skirmish, and this guy gets suspended for a game. It's just silly. There's a reason the rule is there. There just needs to be some sort of nuance to it.
Yeah. Don't underestimate, too, because we're in the middle of a pandemic and the way the benches are set up now because there's no fans courtside, there's more room. Because I always think about when there is a skirmish, the assistant coaches pounce on these guys, right? Because of this very rule. Like, hold them back. Don't let them even step out there or otherwise they're going to get a game. But there's too much space now. These guys can move around. The assistant coaches can't get to these guys that quick. And then these guys can sort of leak out onto the floor. I'm half kidding about this, but it sort of is a bit of the case there. Usually they're right there and they can just all hold each other back. But yeah, it's pretty silly. I'm with you that not only Van Vliet, but of course Bembry and Horton Tucker too. Like nobody deserved to be suspended a game and taking money out of their paycheck for nothing, especially the guys that didn't even get into the mix. Like you said, Lee, okay, Van Vliet is in there, even though he is playing a peacemaker. The other guys don't even get there. They're not even close. You can't even see THT in that photo we showed you. Like, where is he? Well, he's on the court over there, so we got to suspend him a game too. Come on, that's laughable.
All right, candidate number 2. It's the Dallas Mavericks TV broadcast, who provide a great broadcast game in and game out, but they put up a graphic: career threes by players 7 feet or taller. I know. Yeah. So look at the spelling of Andrea Bargnani. Andrea Bargnani has been retired for a long time. You know how to spell his name. I mean, come on. There's an N missing there. Like, let's do a little spell check. It's no big deal. Like, he didn't just change the spelling of his last name. But the leaders, Dirk Nowitzki, most 3-pointers by a 7-footer or taller. Trey, you know this. Channing Frye, number 2. Mr. Bargnani, number 3. Brook Lopez, who they were highlighting because they were playing the Bucks, number 4. And Kristaps Porzingis is at the number 5 spot. And where's Luke Cornett on that list? He's coming. He's coming.
Luke Cornett currently is number 14, but if that list extended to number 6, you know who's right there. Lauri Markkanen, of course. I got to assume that Jeff Skin Wade made the call on this one. I have a feeling he's listened to the podcast here and there. Certainly he follows us on Twitter. The 7-foot 3-point list is going around, and it's gaining steam as time goes on. I mean, if Porzingis keeps shooting the ball like he did last night, maybe he sees himself at the top of that list someday.
It's still amazing. Brook Lopez had 3 3-pointers made in his first 8 seasons in the NBA. And then he went from 2 for 14 one season to the following season, 134 for 387. Like, it wasn't like he sort of built up to this. He just decided one off season, I'm going to start shooting threes, and he's become pretty good at them.
It is. Yeah. It is phenomenal that he turned it around like that. But who's the most surprising guy on that list for you? Because for me, it's Channing Frye at the 2nd spot. I guess that's all he did. But for him to be able to pot 1,000+ threes,
for sure,
of all those guys, there's no. He's the only non-star there. I guess. Well, Bargnani. Bargnani had star potential.
Bargnani ahead of his time. As we talked about before.
But Channing Frye, that's a shocker. And I'm not sure he probably doesn't really keep up with the stats and all that, because I sent that to him and he's like, hell yeah, and then he posted it on his Instagram stories, because I'm not sure he knew. But that's remarkable, man. I just wouldn't think that he's second. To me, he was the biggest surprise. But yeah, Zinger could get up there if he stays healthy. Sure.
Yeah, I think he could be challenging Dirk, down the line in his career. He'd have to play a long time, but he's obviously shooting a lot more 3-pointers than Dirk ever was, at least especially early in his career. So I think that's in play.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get to candidate number 3 here. I was kind of split on this one. My first pick was Paul Pierce, because he's just had a bad week in general. It's unfortunate.
He's loving it though.
Yeah, has there been? So he seems happy. He says big things to come. Big things to come on his social media accounts. Has a big thing came yet, or are we still waiting on the big thing? Is there hasn't been announcement?
I think we're still waiting. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
okay. Well, big things to come. And I also I can't stand, since we're talking about TV production with the Dallas Mavericks, and he's Paul Pierce. We're putting it up on the YouTube. Just smile, #smile. That's what he's putting on his social media accounts. Just #smile. So everybody #smile. Paul Pierce still smiling. He's still happy. So everybody else can smile as well. But just talking about production, we talked about the broadcasters last week giving you the out-of-town scores and missing Rudy Gobert's best dunk of the year because they were busy doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. One other thing in production, other than the misspells that really got to me last night, was Ty Lue doing his interview with his mask on. I couldn't understand a thing he was saying. It's just hard to hear guys with their masks, period. And they have this facade going in the NBA. That everybody's wearing their mask when coaches are just taking it off and yelling at players and also yelling at referees with their mask off. When they're doing the coaches interview between quarters, can they just ask the guys to take the mask off? There's nobody in front of them. can we understand what they're saying? I'm all for masks, 100%.
Right.
Mask coverage indoors. But I couldn't understand a thing Ty Lue was saying. And like, forget this facade.
I'll do you
but
one
just take
better
it
then.
off.
Just get rid of the stupid interview.
Yeah, well, for sure. For sure. That's a problem. Nobody really says anything in those interviews.
No.
But if you're going to hear a guy, I'd rather not hear a guy like this and try and talk to me like that. Like, you can't. I couldn't make out a frickin' word he was saying because the mask constricts his words.
Yeah.
And like, he's always taking it. I'm not sure if Ty Lue's taking it off, but the coaches are always taking them off anyways.
Yeah.
Just get rid of that facade, that part of it anyways. Like, there's nobody in front of him. They're not getting interviewed by a person that's anywhere close to them. It's just them in the open air of a basketball floor where, yeah, we've got this whole facade going on the bench. Guys are wearing masks, but yeah, then they sweat on each other. Come on. I don't know. Anyway, just a little production ramble for a little bit. I heard
Speaking
you guys.
of production, I saw Steph Curry had his post-game interview, similar sort of thing. You know, he stands by the stanchion, but because of the way they do it now, where it's kind of just him there by himself, he had to like adjust his own levels on like the mic box. He's like reaching over, turning up his headphones. He's like, it's all right. It's all right. You know, you've done a lot of interviews as a basketball player when you know the technology of the companies that are interviewing you during the game. It was pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, especially when you compare it to, I think it was earlier this week, Finney-Smith, who is probably not doing as many post-game interviews as a Steph Curry, right? He was having some audio complications. You know, yeah, he was sort of down there on the court. He's talking to the Mavs broadcast. You know, they're up higher, obviously, and he's trying to figure out how to work it, basically. Mm-hmm. I think something was off. He eventually got it going, so he was pretty impressed.
He said it wasn't plugged in.
Yeah.
The cord wasn't plugged in. He just fixed it for them. Yeah, he was damn excited to have an interview. He's hitting shots. You're not guarding me, Rudy Gobert. Yeah, he was excited. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of tech problems. But they're kind of out there on an island, like Trey said. Usually there's multiple tech people around them, but they're just figuring it out, looking at the wrong camera. Danilo Gallinari really pumped to hear Vince Carter's voice in his headphones this week. So yeah, it's strange the way they're looking. There was that one angle with Bradley Beal where he was kind of leaning against the stanchion and looking up at the backboard cam, like he was looking like straight up, like he could have had a neck injury like JD looking up at that camera. There's some weird stuff happening with those post-game interviews.
Final worst of the week nominee. My Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on here. It's
Wi-Fi.
It's been brutal this whole week. I've tried everything. It's like I'm convinced that StreamYard just like has to pass it around to one of us. Like somebody always has to have shit Wi-Fi here for us to do that. I don't get it. Nothing has changed. I haven't changed any, of my Wi-Fi services. So apologies. I saw some people in the comments saying my Wi-Fi's slipping. Yeah, it is. It's been bad last 3 days. I don't know what the hell's going on, and I can't figure it out. So apologies. Okay, that's great stuff, Pass. Let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Okay, I got to admit off the bat here, tweet of the night, super dorky, super NBA dorkdom here. But Dwayne Dedman signed with the Miami Heat. So longtime AP writer Tim Reynolds covers the Miami Heat, tweeted this: "We interrupt the Masters to say that the Heat are now the first team in world history, probably, I'm not looking it up, to have a Dwayne, D-U-A-N-E, a Dwayne, D-W-Y-A-N-E, and a Dwayne, D-E-W-A-Y-N-E, on their all-time roster." Super geeky. But then Howard Beck replied, giving us the full geekdom spectrum, which I'm okay with. I like this one. "The Nets would counter with multiple Sean spellings. Sean Williams, S-H-A-W-N-E, Sean Williams, another one, S-E-A-N, Sean Livingston, S-H-A-U-N, Sean Bradley, S-H-A-W-N, Marshawn Brooks, M-A-R-S-H-O-N, Deshaun Stevenson, Deshaun, and Tyshawn Taylor, Tyshawn." So wow. Really geeky. It got even geekier, but I'm going to stay away from those tweets. But yeah, there's just a billion. That I had forgotten about that Nets one, that they have had many Sean spellings. That's the most of one name, I think, in NBA history. But I don't know how you look that up.
Lee, do you have a favorite way to spell Sean?
I think I go with actually Kemp. because there was a kid I went to school with, and every time I remember seeing his name, it was Sean, and I was like, "How do you get Sean out of that?" I was like, "Scene, that's a scene," But Sean Kemp is actually phonetically, I think, the best way to spell it because it's the sh-on like that. So I'm going with Rain Man, not Sian.
All right. Glad I asked. Okay. Pick 'em results from last night. It was that Bulls Raptors graveyard match. Bulls were favored by 3.5. Pick 'em, by the way, brought to you by BetMGM. The Raptors homers here. Tass and I, we went with Toronto. I don't know what we were thinking. To cover, maybe, I guess we were thinking, but they didn't. Bulls got the victory pretty handily. So that's a win for Trey, who's 5-1 here in the month of April. Lee's 4-2. That was another W for you. Tass falls to 3-3, and I'm right behind Tass at 2-4. I still owe you guys a payoff for last month's pick'em. I am not doing well here. We'll get to that. Maybe I'll be doing the Poku dance. Who knows? But Tass, tell me, man, what's tonight's game?
Well, we had a couple of our hometowns going head-to-head yesterday, so let's keep it up today. A pseudo hometown for us, the Atlanta region, where we're all in right now, hosting the Chicago Bulls. One more time, let's get Trey's Bulls in there. The Hawks are favored by 2.5, playing great ball, while the Bulls are feeling themselves as well going into Atlanta. And it's a close line. So, Skeets, what do you got, Bulls or Hawks?
Well, I'm the biggest Bulls fan around now.
That's
so
right.
You would think the Hawks would cover this. They played great. It's a small line, but you'd be wrong. The Bulls are going to win this game outright, keep that winning streak going. It's going to shock the world. Go Bulls. Chicago.
Right,
Hey, man, you're just finally dipping your toes in the Bulls wagon. Pretty soon you'll be proclaiming with great positivity and influence that the Bulls should be favored in this game. There's a bunch of guys out for the Hawks. So no doubt, give me the Bulls going for their first 4-game win streak since 2017.
Wow.
It's going to happen tonight.
All right.
All right. Lee, is that going to happen?
Yeah, Gallinari and Capella are both listed as questionable. I think if they both play, I would pick the Hawks, but we don't know that, so I'm going with the Bulls again. It's great to be on the Bulls of back wagon. It feels great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm going to go on a technicality here. The Bulls don't play well against plus 500 teams. The Hawks are now plus 500.
Mm-hmm.
So they're playing well. I don't know. This is a real tough one, but I'm going to go with the Hawks. Going to go with the Hawks in this one. I'll swerve from the Bulls crowd.
Whoa. Tass taking the Hawks. Everybody else has the Bulls to cover. They're, get some points there. They don't have to win this thing. They just got to keep it close. Good luck to everybody. Okay. We're wrapping up today's drop podcasts a little differently than the rapid fire fun. Earlier this week, I was upset about the Raptors playing Tampa, another loss. I was over it. And I tweeted, I shared this earlier in the week, or somebody brought it up. I guess, Lee, you did. I tweeted, next year, we're all 29 U.S. NBA teams in shitty Canadian cities for the season and see how they fare. You think the left Lakers with 30 games? Not a fucking chance. Okay. Well, people seem to like this idea. Besides people I pissed off in Tampa and Lethbridge, I got hundreds of suggestions as to where we should locate all of these American NBA teams in Canada. So that's what we're going to do right here on the drop today, guys. If you have questions about why I put them in particular cities, go ahead. But, for the most part, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to this. I did have a couple rules. When it comes to my temporary franchise relocations. One, Tass, I know you like this part. Alliteration, it's all great. It's fun to say some of these.
Yes.
Like the Lethbridge Lakers, for example. That one's just fun to say. It looks good. It's fun to say out loud. So there is a lot of alliteration. Number two, same initials feature very heavily in my suggestions here. I want to keep that strong correlation. So like Toronto going to Tampa, starts with a T. That just sort of works. So there's a lot of that. 3, the city I decided has to be a city. A lot of people wanted a team in Dildo, Newfoundland. Got a population of 1,200 people. Shout out to the people of Dildo, but it's a little too small to have a team. So I had to go with somewhat of a bigger.
Could be a big dildo.
That's right. It's only 1,200 people. It's a small dildo out there in Newfoundland. And then 4, I sort of gave up on this rule very quickly, but the shittier the city, the better, in my opinion, because this is to make it fair. We had to put the Toronto Raptors down in Tampa. Okay, yeah, people say, oh, Tampa's not that bad. Get out of here. It's not that great either. So anyway, the shittier the better, but again, you'll see that I sort of deviate from that pretty quickly here. So guys, I'm going to tackle these by divisions. Again, you feel free to jump in whenever you want. I hope my Wi-Fi holds up here to take you through all these. I will try and share a dumb fact or two about each Canadian city that I end up choosing to just to spice this up a little bit. We'll start in the Atlantic Division. The Brooklyn Nets are now the Brockville Nets. Okay? The nickname for this Brockville town, the City of 1,000 Islands. And some say it's the birthplace of the Canadian flag, though this claim has been widely refuted, which is hilarious to me. Like, what's going on in Brockville? They're like, we came up with the flag. And people are like, no, you didn't. There's no proof. But maybe we did. We're going to put it on our Wikipedia page. No, you didn't. You absolutely didn't. I love that for some reason. So
they called dibs on the flag. Apparently it doesn't hold, though.
So Brockville Nets, okay? Also home to the first railway tunnel in Canada, if you're a fan of the trains. All right, next one. Boston Celtics are going to Barrie. I think I tweeted this one out when people were responding to the Lethbridge Lakers one. I just like how it sounds. It's very similar. Boston Celtics, Barrie Celtics. What can I tell you about Barrie? Nice waterfront, actually. Quite nice. Got 3 beaches, numerous parks. Lovely waterfront trails, but it's cold a lot of the time, so you're not using it all that often. But it's all right, Barrie. Next one,
beaches.
Yes,
beaches in the middle of landlocked Canada. These are nice beaches in Barrie.
Hello, Lake Simcoe. Man. It's right on Lake Simcoe, man.
Yeah.
Fair point.
The Hudson Bay is right there. You can shout to Greenland from there. It's not super far.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's around.
Okay, good.
The New York Knicks are now the Newmarket Knicks. Okay, Newmarket. Lee, you know where that is? 45 minutes north of Toronto.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been there. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. You only know this place.
It's the New York of Canada, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's the city that never sleeps in Canada. They say about Newmarket.
That's it, one.
You only know Newmarket because you drive through it to get to Wasaga Beach or Collingwood. Usually.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you know Newmarket. Though Newmarket has a very charming historic main street that I read rivals Unionville. So there you go. Go check out that main street. I've been to Unionville. Wow, it's a nice main street, but it's not that charming.
Bold claim, man.
Yeah.
Nicer than Unionville. Crazy.
Philadelphia 76ers are going to Fredericton. They are the Fredericton 76ers. Now, I'm already breaking one of my own rules, but you can sort of see or hear why, right? Like the PH spelling has the F sound. I know this as someone named Phil. So we're going to Fredericton. I like how it sounds. Capital of New Brunswick. Fun fact, Willie O'Ree, the first black player to play in the NHL, was from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Tass. Did you know that?
I didn't know he was from Fredericton. I knew he was from the East Coast of Canada for sure.
Yeah. But, so they consider him basically the Jackie Robinson of hockey. Mm-hmm. So he broke the color barrier in the NHL. Okay, Tampa Bay Raptors. They are going back to Toronto. They are the Toronto Raptors. Good call. Nice. We're not overthinking that one. Okay, Trey, this one's for you. Central Division. Chicago Bulls are now the Chilliwack Bulls.
All right.
Yes. It's fun to say.
Chucktown, baby.
That's right. 7th largest city in British Columbia. So we're going out west. The farthest west province in Canada, for those that don't know. Basically on the Fraser River, Trey, so you can go check a Bulls game, and then you can go, hit the river, catch some salmon or something, whatever they got in there.
Sounds great to me. I'm relocating. Catch me in Chilliwack. It's on the West Coast.
All right.
I love the start times.
Yeah, that's right. That's
loving those start times.
You're a chill guy.
Yeah.
The Bulls are Chilliwack.
The next one.
That's good.
Oh, I love this one. I think it's actually perfect. The Cleveland Cavaliers or the Calgary Cavaliers. If you've been to either of those two cities, Tass, I see you nodding away. That one just works, right? I mean,
sure.
They're not the greatest cities in either of their respective countries. But there are pockets that are underrated. It probably is a little overblown how shitty they are. But you know what I mean? I like that one. Cleveland, Calgary, to me. Mwah.
Yeah. They
Next
love the
one.
Stampede
Go
out
ahead.
there. I could see they love the Stampede. They love their cowboy hats. It fits. Like
Yeah.
you could still bring that Cavalier guy with the sword. He can be their little logo.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. The Detroit Pistons are the Delta Pistons. So back to BC. Delta is like part of the greater Vancouver area. This was tough. There's not a lot of larger Canadian cities that start with the letter D. That's why people wanted me to use dildo, I think. But I went with Delta.
Other reason.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Fun fact about Delta: enjoys one of the mildest climates in Canada. I had no idea. That was news to me. So I guess Delta is quite warm as far as Canada temperatures go. All right. The Indiana Pacers are the Ingersoll Pacers. So it was either Ingersoll, Ontario, or Innisfil, Ontario. Now, both are pretty small for my thought experiment here. Lee, you ever been to Ingersoll? Probably not.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's you're not really going there. There's no reason. There's some parks, there's some ponds, some historical landmarks, I'm sure. But my fun fact about Ingersoll is I think I used to go to high school with a guy from Ingersoll, and I sat behind him, and he had a crazy mole on his neck. And
Molly.
yeah, this is from a mole man myself, but this guy had like a really wild mole, like right there. If you sat behind him in class, it was like, whoa. So I'm pretty sure he was from Ingersoll.
25 years ago, did you ever imagine sitting in class, looking at that man's mole, thinking, I'm going to need to remember this. I'm going to need to remember this mole and where this guy came from. It's going to come in handy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just kept thinking, like, is that the biggest mole in Ingersoll? Is what I kept thinking.
Is
from
that
Ingersoll.
the biggest mole in Ingersoll?
All right. Our next team, Milwaukee Bucks. We are relocating them to Moose Jaw. They're the Moose Jaw Bucks now. Yeah. This is our first venture to the province of Saskatchewan. Fun fact about Moose Jaw, home to the Snowbirds. Lee, do you know what the Snowbirds are?
Are they the people who go to like Florida in winter and stuff?
Technically, yes, but that's not
Yes,
what
they
I'm talking about. Well played, Lee. No, the Snowbirds that I was referencing are Canada's military air show team.
Ah,
Yeah, you ever
Did
watched
not
them
know
down
that.
at the
at
Snowbirds?
the
are, I guess,
CN,
located there.
the CN thing.
CNE.
CNE?
Yeah. That's usually like the long weekend just before school goes
Yeah.
back, isn't it? They have. Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
You can tell you love it.
Yeah.
No matter what you're watching.
Those military planes, they're incredible, man. They're just amazing. It's like driving cars in the sky.
They're blur. All right, the Southeast Division. Atlanta Hawks are the Ajax Hawks. Caca! Part of the GTA as well, Ajax. This one's a fun fact, okay? 3 very notable people or groups are from the Jacks. And I don't know if they ever call it the Jacks, but I am. Yeah.
The Jacks. Some 41.
Yeah. Oh, Tass. Look at that. You just beat me to the punch. Yeah, but I got a couple other ones that are fun.
Yeah, okay.
Our good friend, Renee Paquette, was raised in Ajax. And I saw that on the list. I reached out to her. I said, were you born in Ajax? She said, no, I wasn't born, but I was raised there. So it checks out. I felt fine with, I might make like a little edit on the Wikipedia page. It did say she was born there, which she wasn't, but she was raised there. So Renee Paquette, Renee Young, retired NHL defenseman who I think has one of the most underrated names in sports history, Jeff Bukaboom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Great
Bukaboom
one.
was from
Great one.
That's a great name, though. We don't talk about it enough, in my opinion. And then, Tess said it. Punk rock band Sum 41. All killer, no filler. There you go. I don't want to waste my time, become another casualty of society. I watched that Fat Lip video this morning. That song still bangs, and that video is like
Totally.
really fun. Yeah. It's good.
Oh, great tune.
I forgot they sort of rap, sing like the Beastie Boys, too. I totally forgot about that. Like
Totally,
they're trading off the lines
Yeah.
and stuff like that. All right, so the Ajax Hawks. Okay, next one. Didn't need to overthink this one. The Charlotte Hornets. Where do you think I'm putting them?
Charlotteville.
Charlottetown. Yeah, close enough. Charlottetown Hornets. Capital city, Prince Edward Island. Charlottetown. You'll love this.
Goofballs. I'm all high on
embarrassed
meds.
yourself.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, that's all right.
You've been in the U.S. for too long, my man.
Charlottetown. You'll love this fact, JE. You might have to drop a particular drop because I read this verbatim here. I'm going to share it. Baked potatoes, hash browns, mashed potato, roasted potato, fries. Whatever your potato needs, Charlottetown has you sorted.
Oh,
I thought we were going to get a Mo Birdie clip there. Prince Edward Island is the largest potato producing province in Canada. Over 88,000 acres of potatoes are grown on the island each year. So that's where the Hornets are playing. That's all. That's a lot of potatoes. And shout out to all the potato farmers. As we all know, none of this
Friday fries. It's all because of you guys. Great way to stock up on energy. I had no idea that Canada had their own Idaho. That's what it sounds like, right? Like this is 100%. Where we make potatoes. Come here if you want your potatoes. There's only one place in each country.
Giant bridge to get to Prince Edward Island too. Maybe the largest bridge over something like it's like the largest bridge over ice or something like because when it freezes, I don't know. It's something like that. There you go. Next
nice. Second fact.
Yeah, Miami Heat are the Montreal Heat. All right, it's ironic, right? Isn't it, Lee? Miami's hot, Montreal's cold.
Well, shouldn't it be the Montreal smoked meat or the Miami smoked?
Oh,
hang on, what are we doing? Yeah,
that's good, Lee. That's good. Now you're getting into the swing of things. And if you want a fact, Montreal hosted the first Olympics ever held in Canada in the summer of 1976, and the home country did not win, and they're still paying for it. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I think they're the only host to still not win a gold medal, I believe.
That's probably right. Yeah. Though then, Canada got one eventually in Vancouver.
Yeah, but as the host
city.
nation, as the host city, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Next one, the Orlando Magic. We're going to put them in Aurelia. The Aurelia Magic. I didn't know this. Tass, maybe you did. It's known as the Sunshine City, apparently, Aurelia.
Nope.
What? Never heard that in my life, but that's what they're claiming. But I like this one because Orlando has Disney World and Aurelia has Casino-Rama. So it's like, just like, like these like artificial like cash grabs that are sort of depressing in a way, but people have fun at. There's a strong correlation, I think, between Disney World and Casino-Rama. If you've ever been there, did you see Boys to Men play at Casino-Rama once? Tass, or am I crazy?
100%. Yeah, they brought it. They definitely brought it.
Wow. You saw Boys to Men. I saw Men at Work at Casino-Rama. Want to see men? Go to Casino-Rama. Boys to Men at Work.
Boys to Men at Work. What's the house show at Casino-Rama? Okay, a couple more. Washington Wizards. We're putting them in Waterloo. They are now the Waterloo Wizards. I talk about Kitchener a lot on this show because of Jamal Murray. He's from Kitchener. Kitchener's finest, I'm always saying. Kitchener and Waterloo, they're considered twin cities. They're side by side. Cambridge tries to get their ugly head in there too, a little Tri-Cities action. But no, everybody's like, fuck off Cambridge. Like, it's just Kitchener and Waterloo. And Waterloo, along with Kitchener, of course, they hold Oktoberfest, every year, which is the largest Bavarian festival outside of Germany. You ever been to Oktoberfest, Lily? Ever had a pint there?
In Germany? No, I haven't, but they have that one in Toronto.
In Waterloo.
Yeah, no, they have that one in Toronto as well. I thought they claimed that was the biggest one outside of Germany.
No, it's Kitchener-Waterloo for sure. All right, couple more divisions here. The Northwest Division, the Denver Nuggets, putting them in Nelson. Okay, again, we have that problem with the D's. Not a lot of them that are big enough. But the Nelson Nuggets, this one actually works really well. Team alliteration, of course. Nelson is located up in the mountains of BC, and this one works well because the Nuggets, Nelson is known for its impressive collection of restored heritage buildings from its glory days in a regional silver rush. So, you guessed it, silver mining equivalent of a gold rush is the silver rush. Nuggets, gold rush, Silver Rush, Nelson. I like it. Nelson Nuggets. Go catch them in DC. The
You
Minnesota.
guessed it. It's a Silver Rush.
That's right.
I love it. You're keeping the mining work there. We can get a similar drop from Matty O. There's silver in them heels.
Yeah.
And of course, you're keeping the elevation the same. That's a key part of the Denver Nuggets. This one's
Elevation,
perfect.
the jerseys, like just make them silver. Like take all the gold and yellow and just go silver with it. Okay, Tass, I'm coming to you for this one because the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to Mississauga. They are now the Mississauga Timberwolves. It's in Ontario, the birthplace of our very own Tass Mellis. What's a fun fact about Mississauga, Tass?
Well, I was born in Toronto.
This is a real Renee Paquette situation.
Real Renee Paquette. Renee
Raised up born.
You were raised in Mississauga. Excuse me.
Well, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're probably going south to Mississauga because Minnesota's further north than Toronto. Yeah, they're definitely going south to Mississauga. The fun fact, I would say Colonel Sanders, the guy who founded KFC, he lived in Mississauga for a bit. He actually lived very close to me.
Wow.
The real Colonel, the real beard. Then he left.
What?
Yeah. He was close. I guess a fact you really give a crap about, because you probably don't give a crap about Colonel Sanders, is that the airport is in Mississauga. The Toronto International Airport.
That's good.
It's actually in Mississauga, which is a huge city. It's not one of these rinky dinks, one of these smaller cities. This is a very, very large city. I think it's the 6th largest city. Yeah, David Arruda coming through on Melton Drive. Yeah, this guy knows where Colonel Sanders lives.
Wow.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. He lived on Melton Drive, which I lived so close to there. I literally could have ran into Colonel Sanders and never did. I was too busy at KFC. I was never in my house. So thanks, Colonel Sanders, for all that chicken.
Was he always just like cooking chicken in his driveway and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Always.
Okay. Okay, a couple more. Oklahoma City Thunder. I teased this one earlier. They're the Thunder Bay Thunder. That's just hilarious. It's perfect. Thunder. Hashtag TBT too. They could really grab control of that if they wanted to and get some interaction on their social media channels. So Thunder Bay Thunder. Portland Trailblazers are now the Port Moody Trailblazers. Not a far relocation for the Blazers. Only 6 hours between Portland and Port Moody, which is in BC. In 2004, Port Moody was officially trademarked as the City of the Arts. I feel like there are 1,000 cities in the world that are the City of the Arts, but generally it just means rent was cheap at a certain point and maybe some beautiful scenery to inspire all those artists, and they made their way up there, and now they're the City of the Arts, Lily.
Nice, yeah. That's the sort of default. It's like the city's not that great, make it artistic.
Yeah, it's smart. All right, this next one we got a photo for. The Utah Jazz are the Yukon Jazz. Cheating here a little bit, yes, but yeah, it sounds good, and I like this. Just like Utah is a state and not a city, we're doing the same here for Yukon. That's not a city. That's a province. So similar to the Utah Jazz. And look at this from the Coyote Jester. It's a perfect logo there. I love how that looks. I would wear that on a t-shirt, by the way. So Yukon Jazz. You guys seem all right with that one, even though I'm cheating a bit. Okay.
I'm glad Yukon got a shout. I thought it might have been snubbed, but good to see.
Yeah, they'll have some real rivalries with the Charlottetown. What were they? The Charlottetown. What were they?
Hornets.
What were they? Hornets. Yeah, there would be some potato rivalries there with Yukon potatoes.
Oh, Yukon Gold. Oh, Potato Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
but Yukon is a territory, not a province. So
okay, yes, sure. Jesus.
Well, it's not like there's an NBA team in Puerto Rico, for example. You know,
that's a good point.
There
should be.
Absolutely, there should be. But anyway, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, great. Jazz, I love it. Nice. You way to make up for not knowing Charlottetown right there and calling it. That's smooth. I see what you did there, JD. I'm calling it a territory. You're technically correct. Pacific Division, our final division. Golden State Warriors. I struggled with this one with the G, so I just went with the alliteration. We're going to Winnipeg. Winnipeg Warriors. Sounds all right, looks all right. Capital and largest city in the province of Manitoba. I think that's my first team we're putting in Manitoba. It's windy as shit in the Peg. It's never not windy. Quite a cold city, but I know they claim to be quite the city of the arts as well, especially when it comes to music.
They didn't think to trademark it.
No, they didn't.
That's the thing with the other one that you said.
Yes, Port Moody.
Moody.
Port Moody, the internationally known trademarked city of the arts. But I mean, if it's windy in Winnipeg and it's a little bit cold, that's perfect for the Warriors coming from San Francisco, a blustery place that can get a little colder than you would expect. They'll adjust.
Okay, this is not bad from Jason. He says it should have been the Golden Horseshoe Warriors, which is another regional name. That's not bad, Jason. As you could tell, I had put about 4 hours in at this point. As I got to the Pacific Division, I stopped giving a shit. But fun fact about Winnipeg, and I want everybody to listen up here because I feel like this could come out at some point during trivia. Like, I just have a feeling this is a good trivia question. Okay. Fun fact about Winnipeg: first city in the world to develop the 911 emergency number. Put
That's
that
good.
away.
That's
Put that
good.
away in the nugget. Throw it way in the back. And that's coming up at some point. It's going to win you some money at some point. It's going to win you some free beer at some point. So when it does, just come back and thank me. Okay. The LA Clippers. The Laval Clippers. Yeah, Laval Clippers. Say it with a French accent. Sounds great. Montreal suburb. I believe the largest Montreal suburb. Was that where Matt was living when he went to school? I couldn't remember. I should have texted him, but it was going to be too early. Yeah, I can't remember what suburb he was in.
So he went to McGill, right? Which is in. Oh, actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, the city is named after François de Laval, the first Roman Catholic bishop of Quebec. And I thought you'd like that one, Trey, because you're learning a little French. So that's a little fact for you, my man.
Merci.
Well played. All right, come on. Okay, Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. They're the Lethbridge Lakers. That's what kicked off this whole thing. The Phoenix Suns. Let's put them in Saskatoon. The Saskatoon Suns. Now, I know what you're thinking. Skeets, why do you put the Suns in Saskatoon? My response to that is, well, I don't know. But tell me. 80s rock band, the Sheepdogs.
I was waiting for that.
You know your music fact, Tass. You got Sum 41. You knew Saskatoon was the home of the Sheepdogs.
Waiting for the Sheepers. Is that our second team in Saskatchewan?
Did I put another one in there? It might be the first. I don't have a Regina team, and I don't have an Estevan team, and those are the only cities I know in Saskatchewan. So, no, that's the only one.
There's an Oxbow in there, but it won't work.
Okay, final one. It's the Sacramento Kings, and we're putting them in Kingston, so it's the Kingston Kings. Kingston is midway between Toronto and Montreal. For those of you that don't know, it's nicknamed the Limestone City because of the many heritage buildings constructed using local limestone. I didn't know that fact, so I was happy to learn that. A very historical city. Oh, sorry, I got one more division to go. I told you this would be long. Yeah. Dallas Mavericks, they are the Medicine Hat Mavericks. I just like how that one sounds.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's a city in southeast Alberta, so out west. You know they got horses there, Lee. Yeah. And Medicine Hat has been known for its large natural gas fields. It was once referred to as having all hell for a basement. Sounds beautiful, Medicine Hat. Because of these reserves, the city is known, Trey, as the Gas City.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty
great.
cool thing. And obviously, if they move to Medicine Hat, the Mavericks would have to bring back their logo that was like a big hat.
Boom.
Easy.
Yep. And I would love to do a 360 jump fart in Medicine Hat. It's known as the Gas City. I think that would be nice. The Houston Rockets are the Halifax Rockets. Perfect amount of letters. Brings me great joy. 7 letters in Houston, 7 letters in Halifax. Halifax is the capital, JD, of
Nova Scotia.
There it is, my man.
Spitting Halifax.
I'm back.
Spitting Halifax.
He's back, baby. He knows his East Coast. That's where his wife's family's from. They fire a cannon at noon every single day it's like a tribute to Halifax's history as a major British military stronghold. Every day except Christmas.
Every day except Christmas?
Why not just do it on Christmas too? I couldn't understand that. Like
It's the guy's day off. The cannon guy's day off.
I mean, give it to the temp,
Yeah.
you go fire it today.
Future post it. Set it so it goes off during during Christmas. You don't have to work it. It looks like you are.
Wow.
12:30, boom.
Can you future post a cannon? I think that's amazing if you can.
Just a really, really long fuse. That takes
24 hours. Yep. The Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to put them in Maple Ridge. The Maple Ridge Grizzlies. That's a BC city. Task, can you name the famous baseball player?
Larry Walker.
Man.
My God, Tassie.
Wow.
Stepped up to the plate. Ding.
Home run, Larry
Yeah.
Wagner. I don't think they have a lot of grizzly bears in Maple Ridge, but I do know they have a lot of black bears in the area, a lot of encounters with them. And Lee, I just wanted to let you know that if you ever do encounter a bear, don't run. Never run from a bear, okay? Face it, slowly back away, talk to it in a confident voice, and ensure the bear has a clear path to exit. And always say, hey, bear, hey, bear, hey, bear. I don't know why, but all these shows I watch where they come across a bear, they always say, hey, bear.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that.
It's the same.
There's a BC bear right there.
Yeah. It's the same with gorillas. It's like if they run, don't run because they're going to kill you. And you see it sometimes where it's like a gorilla just goes crazy or a bear, and people are like calm. And I'm like, I just don't know how you could remain calm like that.
Yeah.
You know, if something's a huge beast is coming at you like that, surely your natural instinct to just be like, I've got to run. I got to get out of here. But don't do it if you can.
Stay calm, stay confident. Confidence, baby, confidence when it comes to seeing a bear. Okay, I finally have two more left, and that's it. The New Orleans Pelicans are the Pickering Pelicans. Pickering, home to a nuclear power plant. My favorite fact, the final scene in Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day, was filmed in Pickering.
What? Wow.
Nice.
It's on the internet. Must be.
The sequel.
I remember Boondock Saints was definitely filmed part of it in downtown Toronto.
Yeah. What was there? There was that famous, what's the
Late
famous
night
restaurant? Joint. Yeah, what was that late night place on Dundas Street? JD, come on, help us out. The Lakeview. Yeah, I think so. Is that it?
I don't know.
I feel like there is a late night place there. I don't know.
That's the one for sure. The shoot up in the first one.
Yeah, that's right. But Boondock Saints 2 apparently filmed in parts of Pickering. Finally, the San Antonio Spurs are the Sault Ste. Marie Spurs. I like that one. Ontario City, that's very close to the U.S.-Canada border. Third largest city in northern Ontario. So Thunder Bay is one of them. Sudbury. I actually should have made the Suns the Sudbury Suns. So we would have had 3 American NBA teams in northern Ontario here as punishment. But anyway, Sault Ste. Marie Spurs. They have a large shopping mall. And here's another fun fact. Wayne Gretzky played for the Sioux Greyhounds, which was like their minor league hockey team. That's sort of like where Gretzky got his start way back in the 70s. That's where he picked number 99 too. I did read up on that. He wanted number 9 for his hero, Gordie Howe. Somebody had it on the Sioux Greyhounds. So then he went with number 14. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they just gave it to him. And then somebody, I don't know if he wasn't doing that well in it or something. And then somebody said, you know what's better than 9? 2 9s. So he's like, all right, I didn't know I could do that. Give me 99. And then that's the great one now. So there you go.
That one's going to mess up a lot of people. The spelling of it. They're going to mispronounce it.
Yeah.
Salt and then STE Marie. Yeah. You know, salts. Yeah, it's going to mess people up. Mm-hmm. And good, I say.
Well, exactly. That's the whole point of this thought experiment. Poor Toronto had to go to Tampa, so we're putting all these American teams up into Canadian cities. That's it, guys. I'm sorry that took so long, but I had fun. Awesome. I had fun for an hour doing it, and then I got angry. My favorite response to my Lethbridge Lakers tweet, by the way, was from this guy. This is a perfect button to this podcast, I think. At Kutnikov, I guess. I don't think we want pro #basketball in #Canada outside of #Toronto. Thank you very much. Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for adding to the dialogue and the fun of Twitter.
Thanks for chiming in, Lawrence.
Amazing.
Lawrence probably he's worried that you're going to take away his Canadian Football League team or something.
I guess so. I guess so. He's worried I'm going to put one on his river. All right, that's it. We'll call it there. That's the Drop Podcast.
Well, come on, Skeets. You don't want to play a roundabout of what about this province? What about this territory?
Yeah. Oh, God. No, I don't. But what do you want? What are you upset? Nunavut? Where do you want to put somebody?
No, you already named way more Canadian cities than even I knew about. I lived there for a couple of years, and you're pulling names out of a medicine hat that I've never heard of. I was happy to see some of the silly names that I do know get teams, so I think you killed it.
I will say that when we were doing the starters, and we would when I was directing the show, we would have the San Antonio Spurs effect, when we affected to a Spurs highlight, for example. And I would always get messed up, like 6 years, because it was SAS, right? So it always call out the wrong thing. So by year 3, I was calling it Saskatoon Spurs, like always, like to the TD. I would always say, stand by Saskatoon affect Saskatoon. And to the point where I still have to catch myself when I'm talking about the Spurs. Not that ever comes up really, but I will say almost say Saskatoon. So,
so you would have put the Spurs in Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there isn't a Saskatchewan, right? No, it's Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan.
All right.
Is that the Spurs or is that the San Antonio Spurs, Saskatoon Spurs? Oh, I don't know. Once you start saying the Sheepdogs, you can't stop.
Oh, I'm driving in mere hours up to a cottage that we rented for the weekend, and I'm playing some Sheepdogs on the way up. For sure, that's some cottage playing music. Trey knows that's all we used to listen to for a couple months on the drive.
Skeetsy, I'm looking it up right now because usually when we would listen to a Ewan Curry solo record or maybe a Sheepdogs record, it's a Friday afternoon.
That's right.
Time to chill. Catch me in Chilliwack listening to the Sheepdogs.
Love it. All right. Well, I know some of you are upset. I didn't put a team in Vancouver. I didn't put a team in so-and-so. I didn't put a team in Dildo, Newfoundland. So let me know your suggestions where we're putting all 29 American teams in Canada for next season. It's only fair, Adam Silver. So let us know in the YouTube comments or tweet at us at NoDunksInc. That's it for today. Email us your NBA questions for next week's Beach Steppin' podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Grab your No Dunks merch at NoDunks.com. Subscribe to The Athletic if you haven't already. Go to theathletic.com/NoDunks so they know that we sent you. Lee, my man, you're off next week. You going to Saskatoon or Port Moody?
Nah, I'm going to Whitehorse again. That's a great part of Canada. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice. But you're off next week. You and the family are taking a little vacation, so have fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be back in 7 days, 10 days, whatever it is, back on that Monday. So yeah, I'm out.
Okay. And it's going to be a 3-man weaver on Monday because I won't be back in time on Monday. So it's just Tass, Trey, and JD holding down the fort there. So come join those guys. Tass, what you need to know Monday through Friday next week, 7 a.m. You can join them live on YouTube. And then The Daily Show will be back, missing some guys here or there, but Monday through Friday as well. Have a great weekend. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And remember, I'm sure some of you out there may have been mad at all the Canadian cities coming out of our moose jaws there for a little bit, but we will have none of it.
Embrace the weekend, people.